I'd like to address the lies, the fraud of the pristine waters of Lake George, New York. All the marketing materials and all the representations to collect money to protect the pristine waters of Lake George, New York, nothing but a big lie and a pile of bullshit. That's for the attorney running fund for Lake George, Tom West, and all the Lake George Association members and the Lake George Park Commission and all those law enforcement turds up at Raybrook for DEC. Let me see, the pristine waters of Lake George, New York. The lake basin has 6,000 septic leach fields that are all draining into the lake. And here's one I don't want to talk about. All the contaminated emissions from those water-cooled marine engines that spit oil and all kind of other chemicals like toluene and mercury from all those mercury outboards and mercury inboard outboards. All the mercury and toluene and lead and all the other contaminants that are mixed in the exhaust systems of all those marine engines, on top of all the road salt and runoff from the surrounding landscape, and all the septic that's leaking into the lake from the malfunctioning sewer systems, the malfunctioning, ill-kept septic treatment systems, and then, of course, 6,000 leach fields all draining into the bedrock lake basin of Lake George. So, to all the bar cards that represent Lake George Park Commission, and all the bar cards that represent the town of Queensbury, and all the bar cards that represent the Warren County Board of Supervisors and New York State, especially those bumbling morons up at Raybrook, Lake George, New York does not have pristine water. No matter how many times you flush the lake. That's from my oldest sister, Georgia. They're flushing the lake. They flush that lake all the time because it's full of human excrement, wee-wee and pee-pee, and poo-poo, lots of poo-poo, and chemicals and road salt and all kinds of other imaginable toxins and chemicals, especially from the rain that happens with the toxic emissions from the Glens Falls and the Ticonderoga paper mills and the Glens Falls Cement Company and all that acid rain. So Tom West, Lake George Association, you want to explain the claims of pristine water in Lake George, New York again? I suggest you people quit lying, because y'all full of you-know-what. Pristine waters in Lake George. Boy, Mayor Robert Blaze, I want to hear Robert Blaze and Buzz Lamb. Maybe old Buzz Lamb can explain this to everybody. And the town historian. Let's get Margaret Mannix and what's her name there? I'm sorry, it's Muratori, old Marissa Muratori. Maybe Marissa Muratori wants to explain it to Chrissy Miller and the Warren County Board of Supervisors. And Vinny Cressito, Mr. Cressito, why don't you explain to the world the fact that Lake George hasn't had pristine waters in it in many, 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 many decades. You see, folks, all those marine engines, ask George Penzel and Tony DePace. And you can ask old Judd Witham about the chemicals that come out of the marine engines and the exhaust systems and get dumped into Lake George on a massive scale. How about that one, Tony DePace? Ain't that something? George Penzel? Good old George, man. George will tell you. And Maryland, his sister Marilyn Penzel, they'll explain it to you. I'm sure they will. So to Governor Andy Cuomo and to Letitia James, the Attorney General for the state of New York, maybe the Lake George investment marketeering group of Fund for Lake George, they need to quit trying to tell everybody they're protecting the pristine waters of Lake George, because there ain't no pristine waters in Lake George. Folks, I'm going to leave it right there, and as always, hasta la vista. God bless, and you betcha, we're coming back.